Imagine holding a simple coin in your hand could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of pounds. We're diving deep into the top 3 rarest and most valuable UK Elizabeth coins, pieces of history hiding in plain sight. From shocking minting errors to coins pulled from circulation decades ago, these treasures have stunned collectors and skyrocketed in value at auctions. What if I told you that a simple 1979 UK Elizabeth II new pence coin, the kind most people would overlook, could be worth not just hundreds, not just thousands, but in some cases up to millions of pounds? Yes, you heard that right. A single misprint, a rare error, or an unusual strike could turn this everyday coin into the holy grail of British numismatics. In today's video, we're diving deep into the shocking history, jaw-dropping errors, and the unbelievable values, the background, to understand why the 1979 2 new pence coin is so valuable in rare cases. We first need to step back into the history of British currency. The decimalisation of Britain's coinage in 1971 marked a huge turning point. The old shillings and pence system gave way to the modern decimal coins we know today. The 2 new pence coin was introduced as part of this shift, minted in bronze, weighing 7.12 grams, and measuring 25.9 millimeters in diameter. The rare errors and valuable, double die errors, £8,000 to £14,000. Mis-strikes and off-center strikes, £5,000 to £20,000. Wrong planchet errors, £25,000 to £30,000. Clipped planchet errors, £40,000 to £45,000. Auction records and values. So, how much money are we talking about? Let's break it down. Circulated 1979 new pence coins, worth only face value, about 2p. Brilliant uncirculated examples, £1,000 to £5,000 for common pieces. Minor die errors, £200 to £500. Off-center strikes, £1,000 to £20,000 depending on severity. Clipped planchets, £500 to £10,000. Wrong planchet errors, Holy Grail, £30,000 to £40,000. In 2016, a rare off-metal strike 2 pence coin shocked collectors by selling for £72,000 at auction. Experts believe that certain 1979 new pence errors have never been discovered publicly, and when they do, we may see sales in the multi-million pound range. How to identify a valuable 1979 2p coin? If you have a 1979 2 new pence coin, here's what to look for. Check the lettering. Is new pence clear and evenly spaced? Any doubling or blurring could be valuable. Look at the Queen's portrait. Doubling, distortion, or misalignment are major red flags in a good way. Examine the edges. If the coin looks clipped or has unusual shapes, it might be a mint error. Weigh the coin. Standard weight is 7.12 g. If it's heavier or lighter, it could be struck on the wrong metal. Check alignment. Flip the coin vertically. If the reverse isn't perfectly aligned, it may be a misstrike. Invest in a magnifying glass and a digital scale. Sometimes the difference between a worthless 2p and a £1,000,000 treasure is just 0.1 gram. Why collectors pay so much? You might be wondering, why would anyone pay such astronomical sums for a small bronze coin? The answer lies in rarity, history, and prestige. A 1979 2 new pence error isn't just a coin, it's a story. It's a once-in-a-lifetime mistake by the Royal Mint, a survivor of history, and a tangible piece of Britain's transition into modern money. Collectors, especially high-net-worth individuals, love the idea of owning something nobody else has. When 2 or more wealthy collectors want the same coin, bidding wars erupt, and that's when prices soar into the millions. It's not just about the metal, it's about the thrill of owning the only known example of a coin in the entire world. I'm talking about the 1968 UK Elizabeth V new pence coin, a piece that looks ordinary to most people, but in rare cases, because of minting errors and unique varieties, it has been valued in the hundreds, thousands, and even millions of pounds. Yes, a simple 5p coin that you could mistake for pocket change might just be your golden ticket. In this video, we'll uncover the secret history, the shocking errors, and the unbelievable prices of this legendary coin. The background: the 1968 5 new pence coin holds a unique place in British history. To understand its importance, we need to rewind to the 1960s. Back then, Britain was preparing for one of the biggest financial changes of the century, decimalisation. Until then, the currency was based on pounds, shillings, and pence, a system that dated back centuries. But in 1966, the government announced a shift to the decimal system, which would be simpler and easier to use. The rare errors and valuable, double die errors, £5,000 to £50,000. Off-center strikes, £9,000 to £25,000. Clipped planchets, £5,000 to £10,000. Auction records and shocking values. Now let's talk about the money. Common 1968 5p coins in circulation, worth face value 5p. Brilliant uncirculated examples, £1,000 to £5,000. Minor die errors or clipped edges, £500 to £5,000. Double die errors, £10,000 to £50,000. Off-center strikes, £5,000 to £25,000. Off-metal strikes, Holy Grail £30,000 to £1 million. Auction houses like Spink and DNW have seen rare 5p errors sell for eye-watering sums. In one instance, a decimal error coin from the same era shocked the numismatic world when it sold for £76,000, and experts believe that an undiscovered 1968 5p off-metal strike could easily surpass the £1 million mark. How to identify a rare 1968 5p coin? Think you might have one of these treasures? Here's what to do. Check the lettering. Look closely at new pence. If it's doubled, blurred, or misaligned, you may have a rare double die error. Weigh the coin. Standard weight is 5.65 grams. Anything heavier or lighter could indicate an off-metal strike. Inspect the edges. Look for clips, missing sections, or unusual shapes. Look at the alignment. Flip the coin. If the front and back don't line up perfectly, it could be a misstrike. Check the finish. Proof like shine or unusually sharp details may indicate a VIP strike. Always use a jeweler's loupe and a digital scale. If your coin looks suspicious, get it graded by a professional like NGC or PCGS. Authentication can turn a coin from worthless to auction-worthy. Why collectors pay so much? Why would anyone pay millions for a 5p coin? The answer is simple: rarity, history, and prestige. The 1968 5p was the first of its kind, the start of Britain's decimal journey. Combine that with rare minting errors, and you have a coin that isn't just currency, it's a historical artifact. Collectors compete fiercely for such pieces because they represent more than money. They're symbols of luck, rarity, and ownership of something no one else on earth has. And when two determined collectors go head-to-head in an auction, prices can skyrocket into the millions. Yes, you heard that right. The humble 1997 UK Elizabeth 50 pence coin, especially those struck with rare minting errors, has become one of the most mysterious and valuable treasures in modern British coin collecting. We'll uncover the shocking history of the 1997 50p, explore the unbelievable error types that send collectors into bidding wars, and reveal the jaw-dropping values these coins. The background: the 50 pence coin was first introduced in 1969, as part of Britain's transition to decimal currency. But by the mid-1990s, the coin was facing criticism. It was large, heavy, and often considered inconvenient, so in 1997, the Royal Mint made a landmark decision: the 50p coin was redesigned and reduced in size. The large-size 50p, which had been in circulation since 1969, was officially replaced by the smaller 50p we know today. This change meant that 1997 became the very last year the large-size 50p was struck for circulation. The rare errors and valuable, double die errors. £10,000 to £40,000. Off-center strikes, £15,000 to £25,000. Clipped planchets, £3,000 to £4,000. Die breaks and cuts, £6,000 to £7,000. Auction records and shocking values. Let's talk about money, the part we've all been waiting for. Circulated 1997 large-size 50p common worth 50p face value. Brilliant uncirculated examples, £2,000 to £5,000. Minor die errors, £200 to £500. Off-center strikes, £1,000 to £25,000. Clipped planchets, £500 to £10,000. Double die errors, £5,000 to £50,000. Off-metal strikes Holy Grail £35,000 to £40,000. In 2019, a rare error 50p shocked collectors by selling for £79,000 at auction. Experts believe that if a previously undiscovered 1997 error, particularly an off-metal strike, ever reaches auction, it could shatter records and enter the £1,000,000 range. Collectors know this. That's why every single 1997 large 50p is checked carefully. It's not just a coin, it's a potential lottery ticket. How to identify a rare 1997 error 50p coin? If you have a 1997 50p, here's your checklist. Check the lettering. Look for doubling, blurring, or unusual spacing around Elizabeth II or new pence. Weigh the coin. Standard weight is 13.5 grams. Anything lighter or heavier suggests an off-metal strike. Examine the edges. Look for clipped areas or unusual shapes. Check alignment. Flip the coin. If the reverse doesn't line up perfectly, it may be a mis-strike. Inspect the portrait. If the queen's face looks shadowed or doubled, you could have a double die error. Tools you'll need: a magnifying glass, a jeweler's loupe, and a digital scale. These small details can mean the difference between a worthless coin and a £1,000,000 rarity. Why collectors pay so much? So why are people willing to pay insane prices for error coins like the 1997 50p? The answer comes down to three things: rarity, history, and prestige. The 1997 50p marks the end of an era, the last of the large-size coins. That already makes it collectible. But when you add rare mint errors, you have a piece of history that is one of a kind. Collectors crave uniqueness. They want to own something nobody else has. And when wealthy collectors go head-to-head in bidding wars, prices can soar into 6 or even 7 figures. It's not about the 50p face value, it's about owning a tangible piece of minting history.